That was quite loud. But was it the loudest thing ever? No. The loudest sound ever recorded was the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883. It was estimated at 310 decibels near the source. For comparison, jet engine at takeoff are at 140 decibels, gunshot 160 decibels, human eardrum ruptures at 170 decibels. At 310 decibels, the sound was so powerful that it was heard over 4,800 kilometers away in Australia and on islands near Africa. It ruptured eardrums of sailors 64 kilometers away from the explosion. So yes, 310 decibels are a lot. But what is a decibel? A decibel is a unit used to measure how intense a sound is. Basically, how loud something is to human hearing. Decibels are logarithmic, not linear. That means every 10 decibels, the sound is 10 times more intense. Every 20 decibels, it is 100 times more intense. Every 30 decibels, it becomes 1,000 times more intense. So the jump from 60 decibels to 90 decibels isn't a bit louder. It's 1,000 times more powerful. The decibel comes from the bell, named after Alexander Graham Bell. In the early 1900s, engineers at Bell Labs were trying to solve a problem. How do we measure how much a signal weakens over long telephone cables? So they created the bell, which is a large unit for comparing power level. 1 decibel is 1/10 of a bell, because a bell was too big for practical use. But what is the maximum amount of decibels? The loudest sound that can physically exist in air is about 194 decibels. Beyond this point, sound stops being sound. At 194 decibels, the pressure waves are so intense that the low-pressure part of the wave creates a vacuum. Air molecules are completely torn apart. The wave turns into a shock wave. In other words, the air cannot vibrate any harder without breaking. Let's do a physics thought experiment. Assume a supernova happens in an atmosphere. The energy released by a typical supernova is about 10 to the power of 44 joules. That's equivalent to 1 quintillion trillion nuclear bombs, more energy than the sun emits in its entire lifetime. If that energy became sound, the estimated loudness near the source would be 500 to 600 decibels. If we use the same logic, the most powerful sound would be the Big Bang, estimated at 10 to the power of 150 decibels.